What is up, Bat family? Welcome to a brand new Batwoman Season 2 update video. Now, I haven't done a dedicated Batwoman update video in quite a long time, and this is right before DC Fandome, so I thought it'd be interesting just to recap everything we've learned recently. Also, announcements of a new main kind of character in Season 2 who looks to be the large threat overall for Season 2. We've got Alice returning, and just more information on how Ryan Wilder, the new Batwoman, will fit in with Season 2. So, by the way, if you haven't checked out my video going over my expectations, my predictions on everything I expect to see from the DC TV reveals at DC Fandome Part 2, check out this video you're seeing on screen right now, because hey, I cover from Lucifer to Titans, Doom Patrol, The Flash, you name it. So other than that, for those of you who are still interested in Batwoman Season 2, go ahead and like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, and subscribe for all updates coming out of DC Fandome for the DC TV side of things. You're not going to want to miss out on the coverage on this channel, and we'll also get onto some of the whole Bruce Wayne Hush storyline and what is going on with that, and if it's still going to be much of a thing compared to what it was intended to be, considering Ruby Rose, Kate Kane was in the show at the time. But either way, let's start at the beginning. Obviously, we have all new details on a new character coming to Season 2, and the British actress Shivani, Ghai, I do not know how that's pronounced. I do apologize if I butchered that. It could be pronounced either way. Is set for a major recurring role on the second season of the CW's Batwoman. She's going to join new lead Javicia Leslie, who is of course the new Batwoman when the show returns in January. Now, a lot of this is coming from multiple different articles. I believe TV Line reported on it, but then Deadline, so take your pick. Ghai will play Safiyah, the fiercely protective ruler of a small community on the island of Coriana. I hope I said that right as well. A woman with as many enemies as aliases, she is compassionate and charismatic with both physical and psychological prowess. She is beloved by her people and will stop at nothing to protect what's hers. No one goes unnoticed by Safiyah, specifically when it comes to those who have encountered the Desert Rose. Now, I've got quite a bit of an opinion on this. I'm going to go into a bit of the hints in the show that we've already got from Batwoman Season 1 pertaining to her character, because some of you may have forgot that and be like, oh, of course, so this is that character? So comicbook.com went into a bit more detail on how, in the comics, Safiyah is a ruler of a pirate nation called Coriana, I don't know, who saves Kate Kane's life during the middle of her post-coming out trip around the world. Now, Kate and Safiyah become lovers, but they ultimately part ways when Kate accidentally carries a deadly disease onto the island, and Safiyah blames it on an innocent man. Now, years later, Safiyah has become a leader of the Many Arms of Death, which is a terrorist organization with reach across the world. Kate tracks down Safiyah, who has apparently kidnapped and drugged Beth in order to bring back the Alice personality. Alice then becomes the leader of the Many Arms of Death, and Kate and Julia Pennyworth have to stop her. Now, that's a bit of the comic book interpretation of it. Now, on the show, there's many different angles and consistencies with the comics they may bring in, and I'm going to get into as to how I think they will bring Safiyah's character into the show. And this is a character that they've been hinting at and wanting to bring in for quite a long time, even with Ruby Rose's Kate Kane. It just hasn't changed, basically, despite getting a whole new Batwoman. Now, as I said, Safiyah, this new character, likely villain of Season 2, was teased from Batwoman Season 1. So what about that? What hints were dropped in terms of that? Some of you may be wondering, some of you may even remember. Well, think back to Season 1, which kind of shouldn't be so hard, as we've only had one season so far. But Safiyah, this new character coming to Batwoman Season 2, was the one responsible for hiring the criminal known as the Rifle, who was trying to obtain the weapon, if you guys remember, to penetrate the Batsuit. But also, just, on top of that, this was even further emphasized upon later on in the season with Juliana Pennyworth in how she approached Safiyah, offering her Lucius Fox's journal if she was to stop the Rifle going after Batwoman, of which Safiyah agreed at the time. So just kind of more like world building, or character building, if you will, to be more accurate, in Season 1 for this character that was kind of always planned to be a part of the show. And we've actually got some comments from the showrunner, Caroline Dries herself, and these comments actually go back before the TV Line comments. So I'm going to read out the older comments from the showrunner talking about Safiyah, where it was more along the lines of, we want to do her, but not yet kind of thing. So she says, "We know viewers are like, this show is only missing one thing, and it's lesbian pirates. Wait, really? But I haven't seen anyone scream that. I mean, fair enough if for Safiya's character and the gang that comes along with her, but I don't remember seeing anyone say that. But either way, I love Safiya's storyline from the comics. Caroline continues, and we knew we wanted to bring her in at some point, but we didn't want to waste her or blow out her character in season 1 when there are all of these other hijinks happening. So we're really kind of teeing up to be our baddie in season 2. And it makes sense, you know, if she would have been introduced in season 1 with everything else that was actually going on with Alice, the whole Beth situation, then there's the freaking Bruce Wayne Hush situation. There's so much. There was so much. So if they introduced her, it would have felt like she would have been parred off in a way. So I'm glad that they did reserve her. And to be honest, it's really good in the method they did approach this character because they've got some background context to her already in season 1. So diehard fans of the show, those who were really enjoying Batwoman, should remember the references. I mean, and for those of you who don't, I guess you're kind of getting a refresher through this video. And I feel like the setup is quite interesting. I mean, after all, like it's not exactly heroic to try and get somebody else like the rifle to get Lucius Fox's journal or even a weapon, should I say, to penetrate the Batsuit. She definitely had plans, let's say. But going back to the TV Line article, this comment is more recent with obviously this whole news, the casting of Safiyah. But now that we've established her as a person that Alice is terrified of, I'm excited to bring her in as the big bad, at least from Alice's point of view, because she's the one person we'll find out who knows how Alice's mind works and is able to manipulate her. So honestly, coming from a skeptical Batwoman fan, this does really sound interesting. It really, really does, because a new big bad being Safiyah, and it's interesting how she used the language, at least in Alice's mind. I don't think it's going to be, or she's going to be portrayed directly to every character as the big bad, but I think she still will be prominently the big bad. It is such an interesting aspect, because the reason why I played that clip at the beginning of this video as well is some people were wondering about Alice with respect to what would she be doing in season 2. Not that people didn't think she was going to be in there, because obviously, despite Kate Kane leaving the show, or well, just missing, I should say Ruby Rose, obviously she was going to pop into it again, Alice that is, because, you know, her arc wasn't over. But I think some people were expecting maybe with Ruby Rose going, maybe Alice's storyline would be a little bit redundant in some sense. But I think, as I'm a big advocate for Rachel Skarsten's Alice, she's the best thing about this show. They can't drop her. She offers and carries this show too much to just get rid of her character, and I actually don't have any apprehension into the character being milked. Does that make sense? So what I mean by that more specifically is that, believe it or not, I don't think that this character is just being kept in the show to keep just the talent that is Rachel Skarsten's Alice alive and kind of carrying Batwoman season 2. I think her story is kind of very handy that it very much does so pertain to this new character coming in, this new big bad, Safiyah. And the fact that Alice is quite frightened of her, she's intimidated by her, she despises her, and how, as she, you know, the showrunner openly admitted that Safiyah gets her, she knows how Alice's mind works and is even able to manipulate her. I think that is going to bring some very interesting little subplots or, you know, whatever to Batwoman season 2 amongst everything else going on, because there is a lot of other things going on that I don't think Safiyah being the main concern is going to be the initial thing for the other characters like Luke and obviously this new Batwoman. I think that's going to take the main stage, but we're going to have this other thing cooking in the background, which is the way I see the structure of the season going. So we're going to have these different storylines following different characters and different scenes. We'll have Alice going around, but then I'm sure with the introduction of Safiyah, there's going to be kind of stuff between them. Maybe Safiya's going to have a hold over Alice, as obviously indicated here, and that's going to lead to its own interesting storyline that will then present to the main crew, if you will, the new Bat crew, at some point in the season. I'm guessing like several episodes in, once they've established a new Batwoman and once they've got all the hiccups out the way in terms of her actually, well, taking on the new mantle of the hero. And speaking of the new hero, the new Batwoman, Caroline also, not so long ago at DC Fandome, at the Legacy of the Bat panel, gave us some more information as to how Ryan Wilder fits in season 2, and she began by saying, at first, she doesn't fit. Well, as you would expect. She doesn't fit fit, literally. She makes it fit her, which, you know, you could obviously say is a little cue to a new suit. We're obviously getting a new suit. In making it fit her, she makes the Bat accessible to this whole other world of people who normally might not have a hero to look up to. So she puts her stamp on the legacy. Kate Kane has disappeared in Season 2, and it was controversial to the fans because, of course, they love Kate Kane. So, of course, we've got to keep her part of the show. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but I wonder how she disappears. I really hope it's going to be decent, but I understand what they have to work with, of course. But she continues on. But Rose's exit also gave us this really unique opportunity to create a new Batwoman. I decided to make up a character named Ryan Wilder, who is the opposite of Kate Kane. Ryan Wilder is a character that Batwoman needs to protect. It just provided a new rich storytelling device for us. Now, that is all kind of similar echoes of what we've heard before, and obviously, guys, this is uploading, and most of you are watching this the day before the DC TV fandom, the DC fandom of the DC TV panel, should I say. So you're going to find out a lot more from the Batwoman panel there, a lot more emphasis on this stuff, I'm sure. And as I went over in my video that I definitely recommend you still check out for all of the other aspects, I still expect, of course, a suit reveal, a suit concept at the very least, but I'm sure they have made the suit, so they can definitely reveal the suit. You get my drift. And I'm just intrigued also as to what about the Bruce Wayne Hush storyline, because that was also like going to be a very interesting dynamic with Ruby Rose's Kate Kane, considering like the relation there. So I'm wondering if that's just going to fizzle out into the background. I don't think they're going to completely dissolve it. However, that was definitely in mind with Kate Kane. I think obviously they can still write something with a new Batwoman, but with all of this other stuff going on with Alice and how she's linked with Safiyah being the new big bad, and then, you know, other things like training the new Batwoman, and also Hush and like posing as Bruce Wayne, just chilling in the background. I suppose one way I could look at it in conclusion, in terms of my speculation here, new Ryan Wilder Batwoman comes in, the team adjusts to her, she adjusts to the team, she adjusts to the role of Batwoman, but also at the same time we have Safiyah, the big bad of Season 2, kind of coming in conjunction with Alice. That's going to be a whole psychological, manipulative, interesting thing, whilst the main plot with them kind of cooks, but is served as a subplot for the time being, and whilst the new Batwoman is stepping into her shoes, already has to some extent, maybe that continues on the Bruce Wayne Hush storyline, and maybe that kind of gets kind of condensed down a little bit to its original projection, and once that's out the way is maybe this new Batwoman's first feat or achievement within Gotham City and exposing, because it's not the real Bruce obviously, that is when by that time the new big bad Safiyah and Alice in conjunction, her plan will maybe be revealed, or at least her main introduction to the Batwoman team will be established. And I could be completely wrong yet there, but that's just, you know, going right off the top of my head, winging that speculation. It seems like that maybe makes sense, but I would love to know your thoughts about all of this news down in the comments below. Are you excited for Batwoman Season 2? I still am holding a flag for it because, you know, new Batwoman, new interesting stuff going on. Rachel Skarsten's still there. I'm still not obviously mega sold on this show. I mean, for obvious reasons that I've been over before, but I still am very hopeful at the fact that we're getting a new character behind the cowl who may be genuinely a lot more, the fans may take a lot easier to her than Ruby Rose's Kate Kane, despite some people still loving Kate Kane. I understand that. I enjoyed her towards the end of Season 1, but yeah, you get my point. There's still some essence of hope, for me at least, without sounding too harsh there, for this series moving forward, especially with the Hush Bruce Wayne storyline. I'm still going to be watching, reviewing the first few episodes. I will give it up if I really don't enjoy it, and maybe do update videos every now and again, but you get my point. Other than that, guys, subscribe. Of course, subscribe for the news coming out of DC Fandome to hear my takes and opinions on all the brand new details and stuff that we get. Like this video if you did enjoy it, but I'll catch you next time, so thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you, Bat Family, in the next video. Goodbye.